I saw her lipstick first, bright red, glistening under the chandeliers. Andrea never used to wear it that bold, not until recently when she decided to flaunt herself. It was our 10th wedding anniversary dinner, right in my parents' spacious dining room, surrounded by our families. Her mother perched at Andrea's side, shoulders stiff, eyes scanning the place as if searching for any misstep I might make. My mother fussed over the roast, and the rest of my relatives chattered politely. Tension crackled in the air. "Don't move the napkins," Andrea snapped, adjusting them to her aesthetic preference. "I'm trying to make sure everything is perfect," I forced a grin. "It already is perfect, Andrea," I murmured, not wanting to argue before we even took our seats. She huffed, rolling her eyes as though I was too dense to see that nothing was perfect. This dinner was her idea, or so I'd thought. "We need a big family gathering to celebrate," she'd insisted, flashing her mother a secretive smile. I suspected they had some plan brewing, but I never guessed how far it would go. Her mother, Linda, wore a smug little smirk, sipping her wine. "You know, Andrea," she said, loud enough for everyone, "sometimes you have to shake things up to keep marriage interesting. Don't let him keep you in a cage." I stiffened. That was Linda's usual insinuation, that I was a controlling husband, a tyrant who caged her precious daughter. "I don't keep her in a cage," I said, forcing a laugh. "She comes and goes as she pleases." Andrea's sister, Madison, grinned like a cat. "So is that why you two still don't have another kid? Because she's too busy with her own life, or you're too busy with yours?" A low blow, considering we had only one child, a daughter named Liz. I swallowed my retort, glancing at my father, who cut his steak and pretended nothing was happening. He hated drama and rarely spoke out against Linda's barbs, thinking it best not to stir the pot. The meal progressed in fits and starts. Forks clinked, occasional forced laughter broke out, but underlying tension never eased. At some point, Andrea and Linda exchanged a nod as if deciding this was the perfect moment to detonate a bomb. When the chocolate cake arrived, Andrea stood up, glass in hand. "I have an announcement." She flicked a glance at me, her red lipstick curving into a cold smile. "I hope you'll all support my decision." My mother set the cake knife down, brow furrowed. "What decision, dear?" Andrea tilted her head, shining with arrogance. "I've realized something. For years, I've felt stifled, underappreciated. Rob," she gestured at me with undisguised disdain, "he doesn't fulfill my needs, emotionally or otherwise." My jaw twitched, but I kept silent. She had a flair for drama, but announcing marital woes at an anniversary dinner in front of both families was a new low. The hush around the table was absolute. Linda's smug face brightened as though proud of her daughter's audacity. Andrea lifted her chin. "I've decided I want an open marriage. I want to see other men. I'm not divorcing you, Rob, but I need freedom to explore." She paused, letting the shock settle over the room. "You owe me that much for the neglect I've endured." My mother's eyes widened in horror. My father choked on his drink. Linda reached out, patting Andrea's arm. "Yes, dear, that's very brave of you," she said loudly. "Don't let him keep you from your happiness." I felt my cheeks burn. "Have you lost your mind?" I muttered, trying to keep my composure. "This is how you celebrate our anniversary? By telling our families you want other men?" She shrugged, her expression unapologetic. "I waited for you to give me what I needed. I tried subtlety, Rob, but you never noticed. So here we are, laying the truth out. At least now you can't ignore me." Linda clucked her tongue. "See? He always ignores you. Told you so, Andrea." My mother finally found her voice. "Andrea, sweetie, this is, an open marriage? That's such a personal matter. Are you sure you want to discuss it in front of everyone?" Andrea shot her a dismissive glare. "I'm sick of secrets. If I don't speak my truth, no one will know what he's really like. He only cares about work, money, his precious image. He never looks at me the way I deserve." I fought the urge to flip the table. "And you think sleeping with other men will fix that?" I hissed. Linda waved a hand. "Oh, hush, Rob. You brought this on yourself. If you'd paid attention to her, she wouldn't be looking elsewhere." My father cleared his throat. "This is not the time or place," he said gently, trying to diffuse the tension. But Andrea refused to be silenced. "I'm done with the old rules. I want an open relationship," she repeated, her tone cold. "And if you don't like it, then maybe you should leave." I clenched my fists. "Maybe I will." Her sister, Madison, sipped her wine, eyes dancing with cruel amusement. Well, this dinner just got interesting. My mother shot me a pleading look, silently urging me to calm down. But I'd had enough. Andrea was humiliating me in front of everyone, unveiling her plan to whore herself out. Yes, that was the bitter word flashing through my mind, and expecting me to just nod and smile. Are you proud of yourself? I asked, standing so quickly my chair scraped the floor. You wanted a scene, Andrea. Congratulations, you've got it. She sipped her drink, unruffled. Don't act like the victim, Rob. You've neglected me for years. I deserve attention, Linda interjected. He's always been self-absorbed. Andrea, you do what you need to do. I'll support you. That was it. I looked around the table at my parents' horrified faces, at Andrea's triumphant smirk, Linda's smug nod, and I snapped. Fine. Enjoy your openness. I'm done. I marched out, ignoring my mother's protest, ignoring everyone else's shocked silence. My car keys jingled in my pocket, and I drove off into the night. Fury surged in my veins, mixing with a sickening sense of betrayal. She'd turned our anniversary into a carnival of humiliation. She wanted me to stay and watch her with other men. Hell no. That night, I didn't come home. I slept in my car in a random parking lot, mind churning with rage and confusion. By sunrise, I'd made a decision. I was filing for divorce. If she wanted an open marriage, she could have it, on her own. I called my lawyer, an old friend named Marcus, the next morning. I want out, I said, voice still hoarse from lack of sleep. She humiliated me in front of my family, says she wants multiple lovers. I'm done. He sighed. That's rough, man. Let's get the paperwork started. Are you sure you don't want to talk it out first? Talk? I nearly laughed. She blindsided me at a family dinner. She thinks she can do better. Let her try. We discussed assets. We had a house, joint accounts, a single daughter, Liz, who was currently in college. She was 19, living on campus. My mind reeled at how Liz would take the news of her mother's meltdown. But for now, I focused on the legal angle. Meanwhile, Andrea's texts poured in, a mix of arrogance and anger. You ran out like a coward. Typical. If you ever loved me, you'd understand my needs. Don't you dare file for divorce, you'll regret it. I ignored them, letting my phone buzz until it died. She threatened to ruin me socially, but I doubted she had any real power beyond Linda's meddling. On the third day, I swung by the house to grab clothes. She was there, waiting with her mother. Linda folded her arms, glaring. Look who decided to crawl back. Andrea leaned against the wall, drumming her manicured nails. You done sulking? Sulking, I repeated, my voice cold. I'm done with you, Andrea. I'm filing for divorce, she scoffed. Over a little request for freedom? Grow up, Linda prodded. He's always been too stiff, dear. Don't worry, we'll handle him. I bristled. No, you won't. I'm leaving, and so help me God, I'll see you in court if you try anything. Andrea smirked, crossing her arms under her chest. You think you can threaten me? It's our house, too. We both put money into it. I didn't dignify that with a response. I just marched to the bedroom, grabbed my suitcase, and stormed out. Linda called after me. You never gave her the love she deserved. This is your fault. I didn't look back. Weeks passed, an agonizing limbo of legal forms and stifled fury. Andrea posted pictures of herself out clubbing, draped over men with questionable looks. Linda bragged to neighbors that her daughter was finally free of that controlling jerk. My parents were mortified. My father told me not to stoop to their level, and I tried to take his advice. But inside, I seethed. Andrea had turned a once-loving marriage into a spectacle. I knew I had flaws. I worked too much, wasn't always attentive. But no matter how I replayed it, her solution, publicly announcing she wanted other men, felt like a knife in the back. Our daughter, Liz, called me from college, confused. Dad, Mom says you're divorcing her because she wanted to expand your horizons? She's making it sound like you're the bad guy. I sighed, rubbing my temples. Liz, your mother blindsided me in front of everyone, demanded an open marriage. I have no interest in that. She let out a slow exhale. That's so weird. She never hinted at that to me. Are you sure you can't forgive her? My voice turned sharp. Forgive her for humiliating me? For insisting she'll sleep around and I should just accept it? Liz hesitated. I'm not taking sides, Dad. I just hope you handle it calmly. Mom's letting Grandma Linda hype this up. I clenched my jaw. Linda's meddling was toxic. Stay out of it, Liz. Focus on school. This is between me and your mother. Liz fell silent, then softly said, Okay, Dad, just don't do anything you'll regret. We hung up, and I tried to bury myself in work. Nights bled into each other, and each day I inched closer to finalizing the divorce. There was no way I'd remain shackled to Andrea's twisted fantasies. A pivotal moment came when my lawyer asked if I had reason to suspect infidelity prior to her open marriage declaration. and I admitted I didn't have hard evidence, but I was sure something was off. She'd been too eager, too sudden, but it hardly mattered. We lived in a no-fault divorce state. Her betrayal only impacted negotiations if I wanted to fight dirty. I wasn't above fighting dirty. I wanted to keep my share of what I'd earned. While the legal wheels turned, I discovered something else. Andrea and Linda were spinning a story that I'd abandoned her, that I was always emotionally abusive, controlling, never letting Andrea have a life. She insisted she'd asked for an open marriage because she felt trapped, unloved. Some neighbors believed her. Others rolled their eyes. My parents were outraged. One evening, I found Andrea waiting outside my parents' home. She marched up to me, eyes blazing. "Sign these settlement papers," she demanded, shoving them against my chest. I scanned them. She wanted half the house, half my savings, and monthly spousal support. "You're out of your mind," I said. "We barely have that much left on the mortgage. Why should you get half my savings? I earn most of that." She tossed her hair. "Because you forced me into a dead marriage. Now I need a new life. Mom says I deserve compensation." I laughed bitterly. "You want to sleep around, then want me to foot the bill?" "Dream on." Linda appeared, stepping from the car. "You'll sign or we'll drag you through court. You neglected her. She gave you everything and you gave her nothing." I stared, anger flaring in my chest. "You're insane, both of you." Andrea's lips curled. "You always wanted to be the big man. Pay up or watch me tear your reputation to shreds." I shoved the papers back at her. "See you in court, Andrea," she glared, snatching them away. "Don't say I didn't warn you. You're making this ugly." I stepped inside, heart pounding. My mother, who'd overheard, placed a hand on my arm. "Stay calm, son. She's playing dirty." I forced a nod. "I won't let them take everything. I've worked too hard." The divorce hearing finally arrived. Andrea showed up in a sleek black dress, Linda right behind her. My lawyer and I sat grimly at one table. She recited her sob story about how she'd been neglected, starved for affection, forced to consider an open marriage as a last resort. Linda backed her up, calling me controlling, cruel. I ground my teeth, wanting to snap, but my lawyer spoke in a measured tone, reminding the court that Andrea's needs included humiliating me at a family gathering. That didn't exactly support her tale of desperation. In the end, the judge ruled we'd sell the house, split the proceeds, and finalize the divorce. I'd pay minimal spousal support for a short period, enough for Andrea to get on her feet. I felt it was more than she deserved, but at least she wasn't getting half my life savings. Linda shot me a venomous look as we filed out. Andrea flounced away, refusing to make eye contact. It should have been over. We were done, free from each other. But life had more twisted drama in store. Months passed. I moved into a small townhouse, minimal furniture. My days were quiet, work, gym, sleep. I refused to even think about dating. Liz visited occasionally, carefully avoiding mention of Andrea. I got the sense she was torn between love for her mother and exasperation at her mother's choices. I didn't pry. Then, out of nowhere, a call came from a number I didn't recognize. I answered and heard Andrea's voice, shaky, frantic. "Rob, I need money." My blood went cold. "You've got to be kidding." Her tone hardened. "It's serious. I need help with a medical treatment. It's an STD." She paused, breath hitching. "Look, I just need money. The insurance won't cover all of it, and Mom can't foot the bill right now." I barked a humorless laugh. "You're calling me because your promiscuity left you with an STD? And you think I'll pay for that?" She snapped. "Don't be cruel. You know how expensive these treatments are. I made mistakes, okay? I wasn't as careful as I should have been." A wave of disgust rolled through me. "So you sleep with half the city, catch something, and now expect me to fork over cash? Not a chance." She raised her voice. "You owe me. You neglected me for years, pushed me to find comfort elsewhere." I nearly crushed my phone in my grip. "I owe you nothing. We're divorced. You wanted to be free. You got it." Andrea let out a tremulous breath. "Fine, then watch me suffer, you heartless bastard. I thought you had a shred of decency." I scoffed. "Decency? Like announcing you wanted an open marriage at our anniversary dinner? That kind of decency?" She fell silent, then hung up. I stood there, heart pounding. The nerve of her. Did she think I'd forgotten how she humiliated me? That I'd swoop in like a savior for her nasty predicament? Not in this lifetime. But that wasn't the end. The next day, she showed up at my townhouse door, unannounced. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, hair disheveled. Linda hovered behind her, arms folded, face twisted with scorn. Andrea knocked hard. "Rob, Open up, she demanded. I cracked the door. What do you want? She tried to push past me. Let me in. We need to talk. I blocked the doorway. Talk about your STD? I already said no. Linda chimed in. You filth. You can't even help her when she's ill? You're an awful excuse for a man. I grit my teeth. I'm not paying for her mistakes. Andrea's eyes filled with tears. Crocodile tears, I thought. Just let me inside, she whispered. I'm not leaving until you do. Fed up, I opened the door fully, stepping back. 5 minutes, then get out. She walked in, scanning my bare living room. Linda followed, sneering at the sparse decor. This is where you live now? She said. Pathetic. I ignored her. What's so urgent? Andrea swallowed, lowering her gaze. I tested positive for an STD. My insurance covers some treatments, but not the full course. It's expensive. My mother can't take on the entire financial burden. Linda hissed. He's got money, he should pay. I stared at them, outraged. You want me to finance your mistakes? Andrea's cheeks flushed. I wouldn't ask unless it was serious. I folded my arms. Serious? Like that public humiliation you put me through? How serious was that? Her voice cracked. Fine. I know I messed up, but this is my health. You can't let me suffer. Linda pointed a bony finger at me. This is your fault. If you'd been a real husband, she never would have sought others. I let out a bitter laugh. You keep telling yourself that. Now both of you get out. Andrea's tears dried up instantly. So, you really won't help? Not a penny, I said flatly. She glared. You'll regret this. I doubt it. I opened the door and they stomped out. Andrea threw one last desperate glance over her shoulder, but I refused to bend. She wanted to be free. She got her wish. The following morning, I got a call from Liz. I answered, expecting a normal conversation, but her tone was tense. Dad, you have to help Mom. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Let me guess, she cried to you about her STD? Liz sighed. Yes, and it's worse. She said she might have another issue. She's pregnant. A strange numbness settled over me. Pregnant. Yes, Liz said. She claims it could be yours. I burst out laughing, a cold, mirthless sound. Mine? That's impossible! Liz's voice rose. She's convinced you slept together at some point during separation. I cut her off. We didn't. And even if we had, I had a vasectomy years ago, so that baby definitely isn't mine. Silence, then a soft, what? From Liz? I shrugged, even though she couldn't see me. I made that decision a while back, before all this chaos. Andrea doesn't know because we were drifting apart. I never told her, but I had a vasectomy after we had you. So if she's pregnant, I'm not the father. Liz sucked in a breath. Dad, are you sure? Yes, I said firmly. I have the paperwork, the tests, everything. It's not reversible on its own. She's lying or deluding herself. Liz exhaled shakily. Then Dad, she's losing it. She's telling me you have to come back to her, that you owe her this. She keeps insisting the baby is yours. A spark of fury shot through me. She can insist all she wants. I know the truth. Liz mumbled something unintelligible, then, so you're not helping her at all? I grimaced. Liz, she humiliated me, demanded an open marriage, left me with a mountain of legal nonsense, and now claims a baby is mine when it's not. She wants money for an STD? That's on her. I love you, kid, but I won't be manipulated. Liz's voice trembled. I'm not trying to manipulate you. I just don't want Mom to spiral deeper. I closed my eyes. That's her choice. I'm done. Let her see that the path she took leads to consequences. Liz choked back tears. You two used to be so happy. Now it's like you're strangers. I felt a pang of regret. Sometimes people change. I'm sorry, Liz, but I can't fix her mess. She sniffed. I understand. Just maybe don't slam the door if she's truly desperate. I said nothing. After a pause, Liz said goodbye and we hung up. My anger flared at Andrea's absurd claim. She was pregnant, wanted me to come back, to foot her medical bills, to fix everything. She'd made me the villain for years, but now she needed me. Too bad, I thought. That night, Andrea showed up again, alone. No Linda, no dramatic flair. Just her, standing in the cold outside my townhouse. We need to talk, she said, voice subdued. I almost shut the door in her face, but curiosity pricked me. About what? Another extortion attempt? She bit her lip. I'm pregnant. I arched an eyebrow. So I've heard? She inhaled sharply. It's yours. I couldn't help a spiteful grin. Good luck proving that, her voice wavered. Rob, we were together a few times before we separated, remember? You don't even recall? It could have happened then. I've counted the weeks. I cut her off. I had a vasectomy after Liz, so you're lying. She looked stunned for a second, then recovered. That's impossible. How dare you keep that from me? I shrugged, feigning indifference. Didn't see the need to share. We were drifting apart. If you were truly pregnant with my child, it would have happened years ago. But now, no chance. Her lip trembled. You're lying! Show me proof! I glared. I don't owe you anything. Get off my porch! Her eyes filled with tears. Rob, I'm scared. I have an STD. I'm pregnant. My mother doesn't have enough money to cover everything. And now you're telling me you can't possibly be the father. Do you know what that means for me? I folded my arms. It means you have another man's baby. It means you messed up, not my problem. She let out a broken sob. All because you neglected me. I made mistakes, but you pushed me there. I tried to talk to you, but you were always busy, always ignoring me. If you just loved me, none of this would have happened. A pang of guilt stirred. Maybe I had neglected her, but that didn't justify her actions now. You humiliated me at our anniversary, demanded I let you sleep with other men. Don't pin that on me, Andrea. You made a choice. Her tears kept falling. And you're making a choice now to abandon me again. You're so heartless. I pointed to the street. Leave. I'm not your savior. Go find the real father of your baby. Maybe he'll pay for your treatments. She shook her head slowly, tears dropping onto her blouse. I hate you, Rob. Sure you do, I said, holding the door. Now get out. She finally turned away, shoulders shaking as she hurried down the path. I locked the door, chest tight. Part of me felt twisted satisfaction seeing her crumble. Another part felt sick. Once we'd been in love, now she was desperate, and I was the cold villain. Maybe that's how it was meant to be. Days later, Linda ambushed me in a supermarket aisle, hissing accusations under her breath. You vile creature! Andrea's carrying your child and you won't help her. You'd let her suffer with an STD and no money? I grabbed a box of cereal, ignoring the stares of nearby shoppers. It's not my child, Linda. Ask your precious daughter about the men she's been with. She jabbed a finger at my chest. You're a liar! She told me everything. How you two slept together one last time right before you left. That baby is yours. You're just running away. I felt my temper flare. I had a vasectomy. She never told you that part, did she? So whoever fathered that kid isn't me. Linda blinked, momentarily thrown off. You can't be serious, I shrugged. Believe what you want, she sputtered. Then, this is all your fault anyway. She never would have gone to other men if you'd been a real husband. You'll pay for her medical bills out of guilt if nothing else. I snorted. Go to hell, Linda. I'm not paying for anything. She looked ready to slap me, but I just walked off, adrenaline coursing through my veins. Enough was enough. I was done letting them bully me. My daughter called again, tense. Dad, Grandma Linda says you're refusing to help Mom and it's your baby. She's lying, isn't she? Because you said you had a vasectomy. I'm confused. I sighed. Yes, she's lying. Don't get dragged into their mess, Liz. Focus on your life. She sounded on the verge of tears. I wish none of this was happening. Mom's crying all the time. Grandma is fuming. You're shutting everyone out. I'm stuck in the middle. I softened. I'm sorry, Liz. But your mom made her bed. I can't fix that. She can't blame me for her poor choices. If she has an STD and a baby on the way, she needs to handle it herself. Liz whimpered. Dad, she's my mother. I can't just watch her self-destruct. Pain throbbed behind my eyes. I get it, but I'm not stepping in. I have no obligation. Legally, morally, I'm done. She sniffled. All right, I love you, Dad. Love you too, Liz. We ended the call and I stared at the wall, wrestling with guilt. But I reminded myself that Andrea had crossed every line. Her mother had fueled her arrogance, and now they were reaping consequences. A few days later, Andrea texted me a dramatic message. I'm ill. I might lose the baby if I don't get better treatment. Please, Rob, don't let this happen. I reread it several times, my heart oddly heavy. Even if it wasn't my child, a baby might be lost because she couldn't afford proper care. Was that truly my responsibility? My entire being rebelled at the notion of letting an innocent life suffer for Andrea's sins. But rationally, it wasn't my child. She had no claim on me. I typed back a short reply. Not my child, not my problem. Her response came in a tirade of curses. You're evil. You'll burn for this. I turned my phone off, refusing to engage. One chilly night, I returned from work to find Andrea slumped on the doorstep, shivering. She looked pale, exhausted. My first instinct was to step over her, but a spark of concern made me pause. Andrea? What are you doing here? She glanced up, lips cracked. I have nowhere else to go. Mom had to leave town to handle some relative's crisis. I'm alone, short on money, and I don't feel well. Fever. My next appointment is in 2 days, and I can't even afford a motel. I clenched my jaw. So you thought you'd camp on my doorstep? She gave a weak shrug. I had nowhere else. The father, whoever he is, won't answer my calls. A pang of pity coursed through me, but I forced it down. You have friends, don't you? All those guys you flirted with? She let out a hollow laugh that turned into a cough. They vanish the moment you need real help. I looked up at the moonlight, exhaling. The old me might have helped her inside, given her a blanket, but we were past that. She'd made me the villain, ruined our life, then demanded I fix the fallout. You can't stay here, I said flatly. Her eyes widened with panic. You'd leave me out here? I'm pregnant, Rob. Sick. My resolve almost wavered. But then I recalled every humiliating moment she'd caused, telling my entire family she wanted other men, mocking me, demanding money. Yes, I said coldly. Now get up. She shuddered. I can barely stand. I grabbed my phone. I'll call you a cab. She flinched. I can't afford your problem. I cut in. You refuse to leave on your own. I'll call the cops. Her face twisted in despair. You heartless bastard, I hope you rot. I waved dismissively, stepping inside. Take care. She let out a scream of frustration, but eventually she staggered away, stumbling down the block. I shut the door, heart pounding. A storm of guilt and relief warred in my chest. I'd turned away a pregnant, sick woman, someone I'd once loved. But she was also the same person who'd humiliated me, insisted on an open marriage, demanded money for her self-inflicted troubles. My sympathy was limited. The final blow came 2 weeks later. I received a summons in the mail. Andrea was demanding a paternity test, claiming I was the father. She wanted child support. My lawyer laughed when I showed him the vasectomy proof. She's grasping at straws, he said. Show the court your medical records. That's it. So we did. We took the paternity test anyway, let the court see the negative result, provided proof of my vasectomy. Andrea's claim crumbled. The judge scolded her for wasting the court's time. She looked devastated, trembling as the result was read. Linda behind her glared daggers at me. Outside, she confronted me with tears in her eyes, voice thick with hatred. You always wanted to punish me, didn't you? Now you got your wish. I shrugged. You punished yourself. Linda spat. May you never know peace. You destroyed her life. I stared, unflinching. She destroyed ours first. Don't blame me for her reckless actions. Andrea stumbled back, pressing a hand to her stomach. Can't believe you'd do this. I loved you once. I shook my head. I loved you too, Andrea. But you threw it away the moment you announced you wanted an open marriage. Her eyes glistened. And you never asked why. You never cared. I cared, I said, bitterness coating my words, but I'm done now. Move on. She opened her mouth, then closed it, tears spilling down her cheeks. With a final tortured sob, she turned away. Linda rushed to support her, shooting me one last venomous glare. I walked off, each step feeling heavier than the last, but also strangely liberating. We were finished, really finished, with no illusions left. If I was the villain, then so be it. She had a new life inside her, father unknown, an STD to treat, and no money from me. I felt relief knowing I'd no longer be pulled into her chaos. My daughter called that evening, voice trembling. Dad, I heard about the test. Mom's hysterical. Grandma's cursing your name. Are you okay? I let out a breath. I'm fine, Liz. It's over. I'm not the father. There's nothing else to say. She swallowed. Yeah, I guess not. I tried to soften. I'm sorry this all happened. I know you love your mother. She sniffled. I do, but I can't defend her anymore. She lied to me, tried to make me believe you were the bad guy. I'm upset with her, Dad. I closed my eyes. You don't have to pick sides. She's still your mother. Liz let out a shaky sigh. I know, but I can't support the way she acted. She's lost everything. I'm afraid she'll end up alone. I didn't have a comforting answer. That's for her to figure out. Maybe she'll learn from this. Liz said a soft goodbye, and that was that. Weeks later, I heard from mutual acquaintances that Andrea moved out of the city, presumably to start fresh. She gave birth at some hospital far away. The baby survived, though rumors suggested Andrea's STD complicated things. She refused to say who the father was, and Linda eventually followed her. I never saw them again, nor did I check up on them. Our daughter sometimes mentioned her mother in passing, but never with much detail. I assumed Linda still ranted about me, blaming me for everything. Maybe Andrea still told sob stories about how I'd neglected her. I'd accepted my role as the villain in their eyes. But that was the final, sobering truth. She had tried to claim I fathered a child, demanded money for an STD, and expected me to rescue her after shattering my dignity. Life wasn't a soap opera where I'd come crawling back. She realized it too late. And so I stood on my porch one evening, gazing at the sunset with a grim satisfaction. I'd learned a harsh lesson about relationships, trust, and how quickly love can twist into something ugly. Andrea had played her part, Linda had fueled her arrogance, and I had become the cold, vengeful husband who refused to bail her out when her fantasies collapsed. Some might say I was heartless, others would argue I merely delivered poetic justice. In the end, neither viewpoint mattered. What mattered was I'd broken free of her manipulations. She wanted an open marriage, she got her freedom, complete with diseases, an unknown father for her baby, and an empty bank account. I stepped inside my small townhouse, locked the door, and felt a strange sense of peace. My life was quiet, lonely at times, but honest. I'd rather be alone than chained to a toxic fantasy. If that meant I'd forever be the villain in her story, so be it. I knew the truth. I'd loved her once, but she chose another path. Now she had to walk it alone, and if she ever tried to come crawling back again, demanding money, claiming ties that didn't exist, I'd do exactly what I'd done before, laugh at the absurdity and slam the door in her face. Because I made my choice too, and I wasn't looking back.